G'day and welcome to Ali on Herbs with Ali Sanchez. I'm your host, Peter Montgomery from thepetermontgomeryshow.com. Ali is a practicing traditional herbalist working out of her clinic in Glenbrook, which is in the Blue Mountains just outside of Sydney. And she's very passionate about educating the general public on the benefits and the uses of the common herbs, the ones that you either have in your garden or can easily get at the shops right now. So what do you got for us this week, Ali?
Hi Pete. Today I've got a very pretty herb, and that's the herb marigold, or is also known as calendula. Now with calendula we need to be really onto our plant identification, which we've spoken about before. As Calendula officinalis is the herb that we're after. The reason I say this is because calendula or marigold, because it is such a pretty flower, it's been hybridized a lot. So if you go down to your local nursery, they'll have all different types of marigold. So what we're talking about today is Calendula officinalis.
So what can calendula be used for?
Okay, well, calendula, before we've spoken about other herbs like lavender and chamomile that not only have that physical effect on our bodies, but have almost like a mental or, spiritual side to their healing. Calendula is a real physical herb. It is used a lot externally. One way we can use it externally is in what we call an infused oil. Now, I'm actually making an infused oil from calendula here. As you can see, these are the flowers. We use the flowers with calendula. And what I've done, these are actually been dried, these flowers, because calendula in particular, when you're making infused oils, the base of the flower holds a lot of moisture. And if you don't dry out the flowers, that moisture can then make your oil go off. So what you do is you dry the flower, and then this is basically just a good quality olive oil, cold pressed olive oil that I've poured on top. Now you leave that. It's very good to label. We should always label our infused oils, not like me who hasn't. So we pour the olive oil on top. You leave a little bit above the plant material just to stop it going off. You don't want to get any mold or fungus kind of growing in there. Now I'll leave this in a sunny position inside, usually like near a windowsill, and then every few days you can give it a bit of a shake, and you do that for about 4 to 6 weeks, and then you'll have yourself a beautiful infused oil. Now we want to obviously strain out the plant matter. So you just get a good cloth, like a muslin cloth, or I know like cheese making supplies, places like that. You can just get a good cloth to strain out the plant material, and then you'll end up with something that looks a bit like this. This has been strained. It's a beautiful golden colour. Now you can use this infused oil straight on your skin, or you can actually use it to go on and make things like ointments and salves, which perhaps we could do a video on one day. That'd be good. But yeah, this infused oil in itself is quite medicinal.
Okay, and so what's the oil good for? What benefits can people get from using that oil?
Calendula is what we call a very powerful vulnerary herb. Now, vulnerary herbs, they help the body to heal through cell repair. So calendula is fantastic for any sort of inflammatory conditions of the skin. So things like burns, bruises, any sort of wounds, even like slow healing wounds like ulcers, you can use calendula on them. They're great. It's great for like really nasty cases of nappy rash. The really angry nappy rash that some poor little babies get. It can even be used for mum who might be getting sore from breastfeeding, like sore nipples. Some women, particularly in the early days of feeding their first baby, calendula is a wonderful healing ointment for that. Varicose veins, wonderful for varicose veins. So you can just use that infused oil for varicose veins. It's great actually to mix it with witch hazel for varicose veins. So externally, it's got 1,001 uses. It's a really good oil or cream to have at home. It's very popular with herbalists, so it's a good one for the first aid cabinet.
And so that's externally. How can it be used internally?
Internally, we use it for very similar things to externally, which is that sort of inflammatory skin condition. So internally, that would present as like digestive inflammation, stomach ulcers. It's actually a really strong antifungal as well, so it can be used internally as a cleanse in that way. The tea itself, many years ago, or even now, was used for measles. In cases of measles, the little ones could just drink calendula tea throughout the day. Nosebleeds, like people that suffer nosebleeds, can take it internally. And it also works in a little different area, and that's on the female repro system. For people, their periods might be a bit delayed or something like that. It can help just to kick that in and, start a woman's cycle again as well. So often herbalists will use it in a mix for that sort of thing too. So, yeah, it's quite wide-reaching, calendula. That's why it's so popular with herbalists.
Okay, and what about precautions? Are there people that should be looking out for that maybe it wouldn't be good for?
Externally, it's a very safe herb. Internally, we've got to be a little bit more careful. It can be a bit stirring on the gallbladder and liver, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but perhaps if you're thinking of using it internally, you're probably best to go see a qualified herbalist for those reasons. But yeah, like I said, it is a popular herb, and so it is used in a lot of commercial herbal brands. So often at the health food store, you can pick up a calendula ointment or a calendula cream. And so even in cosmetics, because it has that skin renewing quality, some of the more natural-based cosmetic companies will use it in their cosmetic mixes. So like I said, it's a great one to have at home, particularly if you've got kids. Or if you are a bit clumsy or your partner's a bit clumsy, we get injuries, bushwalkers, that sort of thing. Yeah, get yourself some calendula.
Okay, thanks so much, Ali. I look forward to catching up next week.
Thanks, Pete. And just a reminder, if you want me to cover any particular herb that you might have in your garden or you might be curious about, just to, make a note either underneath this video or on my Facebook page. And I'll see you next week, Pete.